I've been leading M&A deals for over a decade now, focusing on selling tech companies to large tech buyers from around the world. I've done transactions approaching $1 billion in total value and have been involved in making founders multi-millionaires, having sold a lot of tech businesses in the tens of millions to the hundreds of millions of dollars in value. These transactions have created generational wealth for the founders who I worked with, but I've also seen deals fall apart, often at the last moment. I've seen years and even decades worth of work go down the drain because founders poorly planned their business, ended up with a company they no longer wanted to keep running but could not sell. So what can we learn from tech founders who have played the game right and have had a super successful exit? And how should you think about your startup early so that you maximize the value and chances of selling successfully when the time is right? I'll guide you through what you need to know when thinking about selling your business to ensure you nail the acquisition of your company. And stay around until the end to find out how to identify the right time to sell your business for the maximum valuation. For any kind of acquisition, it's important firstly to ensure that the company hits its core metrics that would make it attractive to any buyer. And there are a few things to think about here. Firstly, do you have a growing business? If you're not able to add new customers or grow existing customers year on year, you're not ready to sell your business. Growth trumps all other metrics when selling your company. This can be growth in users or more typically, growth in revenue by adding new logos. Growth is the proof that you've got something that people really want, which is the purest validation of your business. The first step should always to demonstrate year-on-year growth. And for a software business, depending on the size of the business, anything less than 40% growth will be a struggle to get buyers interested. Secondly, gross margins are a way to demonstrate the profitability of your customers, i.e. how much it costs you to deliver your product to your customers. For software businesses, you should aim for a gross margin of 80% or higher. This demonstrates that you are able to sign profitable customers, but you will have other costs in your business, like your rent and other people costs, etc. As such, you also have to be able to demonstrate that your net profit after those costs is also sensible. For too long, software businesses have focused on growing at all costs, but that is now no longer sustainable, and buyers are keen to buy businesses that are not dilutive to their earnings. It's fine if your company is not profitable when you look to sell, but it's going to be important that it's not far off profitability at that point. Otherwise, you will scare off large groups of buyers. But equally, there's no point having a growing, profitable business if you keep losing customers. Losing customers highlights that there's something broken in the business. Either your business doesn't solve the problem it says it solves very well, or the onboarding and customer service is poor, or the problem you solve isn't really a critical problem for your customers. That last point is an interesting one. Selling something that isn't absolutely critical to your customer is a risky strategy and not one I would advise. The issue is, whenever budgets get cut, which they frequently do across all industries, your product is going to be one of the first ones to get cut, which means you're going to lose a lot of customers you probably spent a lot of time and money acquiring in the first place. And so this leads on to our next point about the importance of having something special about your business. Being differentiated or special is something that gives you a way to stand apart from the crowd. Maybe your technology is better, or the customer service is world-class in a market known for poor service, or the market you're targeting is still yet nascent, but is growing quickly and has the potential to be very large. Whatever the case, having something that differentiates your company is pretty much essential if you want to secure a lucrative exit for your company. Think about it. Any large acquirer is only going to pay a premium for your company if it offers them something special, especially given the large tech acquirers can build products and easily enter new markets themselves anyway. For many of you who already have your businesses, it may be too late to determine the opportunity of the market you're in. However, the level of customer service, the problem you solve for customers, is something very much in your hands. Customer service itself is arguably secondary to the importance of the problem you're solving for your customers. And if you have a startup and have some customers, then you're ideally placed to understand the most critical problem of your customers. The most obvious thing to do here is really listen to your customers and understand the pains they talk about. Maybe it's not all your customers, but a segment of them, maybe the larger ones or the ones that serve a particular type of customer. If you can listen and identify a real pain point of your existing customers, and if you can solve that for them, then you have the makings of a terrific business that in time will have buyers crawling all over, pitching to buy. If you can nail that and solve the problem with a high quality product offering a high level of customer service, then you're pretty much set to get a massive exit. An MD I used to work for used to say to me, Talat, the best companies don't sell, they get acquired. And she was absolutely right. If you're looking to sell your tech company, you're already on the back foot, even if your M&A advisor is running an aggressive, competitive process. The best businesses get bought, they're not sold. They get bought because the perfect buyer has identified that they need you. They've gone to the trouble of seeking a company like yours out, then reaching out to you, then engaging with you to propose a deal. That is exactly the kind of buyer who will apply a premium, typically because they know that it will be too costly and too time consuming for them to develop something similar themselves. They will pay more because it is too much of a hassle for them to build and grow something themselves and to take on the risk that all entails. That is the ideal position when you're looking to sell your business. So how do you get on the radar of large cash-rich buyers who want exactly what you have? You build by having one eye on what the market you're in is looking for or what they will be looking for in a few years' time, so you can lean into this. Maybe it's a large US buyer who has US market presence but has no presence across Europe. Or maybe it's a buyer who does not have access to a particular part of the value chain, component that only your business gives them. It's important to have familiarity of potential buyers in your market. Only if you have that knowledge can you identify the direction they are building in or understand what they are missing. This is not to say you build your business from the outset what you think a particular buyer will want. Rather, it's building knowledgeably to give yourself the certainty that what you're building is relevant in your market. Clearly, a key component of securing a lucrative exit is by negotiating one. This is a topic I may go into more detail in a separate video. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see a separate video on negotiating, selling your business. But for now, all I'll say is that you need to ensure you remain in control of a process to sell your own company. The clearest way you can remain in control is by not having to sell your business in the first place. I've worked on many transactions where sellers have had to sell their business, and this quickly becomes apparent during an M&A process and leads to skewed decision making, which can net a poorer deal than would otherwise be the case because there's some desperation. To have the upper hand in a negotiation, you should look to sell when your business has some dominance, i.e. you've grown massively over the previous year, you just signed a big client, you just launched a new product that is revolutionary in the market. Whatever the case, negotiations always work better when you start from a position of strength, and the bedrock of that is not having to sell your business when you're actually looking to sell. 2021 and early 2022 was a crazy year in M&A. People were paying massive prices for tech businesses. Think double-digit revenue multiples for software companies. No doubt it was the top of the market, but it was the right time to sell your tech business. There are peaks and troughs in the M&A market as there are in many other markets, and it's difficult to tell when the next one might come around. However, if you want to be certain of getting a lucrative exit for your tech business, then timing it right with the M&A market is the best way of maximizing your odds. There are many reasons, of course, why you may not be able to sell even when the market is strong. Maybe your shareholders disagree, or you see lots more growth on the horizon, or maybe you're having too much fun and don't like the idea of selling your business yet. But if you are contemplating selling your business, then being aware of the M&A market is one of the best ways of getting a super exit. And the best way to understand when the M&A market is at a high, just have a look at other investment banks and M&A firms and see when they're selling. Whenever you see a lot of M&A activity with investment banks themselves, you can be sure that we're at the top of the market. After all, no one will be more familiar with the cycles of the M&A market than M&A bankers themselves, right? Thanks for watching.